Have you ever been listening to your favorite song when suddenly a wave rushes across your skin, tiny shivers race down your arms, and a pleasant chill spreads through your body? It's not fear, it's not cold, but something almost magical. Why can a simple arrangement of notes have the power to make us feel so deeply, even physically? Scientists have been chasing this mystery for years, and what they've uncovered is even more fascinating than you might expect. Today, we're diving into the science of musical chills, the shivers we feel when music moves us beyond words. When we talk about chills from music, we're not describing something imaginary or mystical, but a very real biological reaction that scientists call frisson. It's the sudden rush that makes the hair on your arms stand on end, your heart beat just a little faster, and sometimes even brings tears to your eyes. What's remarkable is that this reaction is tied to the same reward system in the brain that responds to food, love, and even survival instincts. When you feel those goosebumps during a powerful chorus, your brain is actually flooding itself with dopamine, the neurotransmitter most closely linked with pleasure and reward. In other words, music has the ability to tap into the deepest circuits of our emotional lives, the same ones designed to keep us alive. But why would something as abstract as sound have this kind of influence? After all, music doesn't feed us, it doesn't shelter us, and it doesn't keep us safe from predators. And yet, when a melody rises in just the right way, it can feel as though your entire body is swept into another dimension. Scientists suggest that the answer lies in anticipation and surprise. Our brains are prediction machines. When you listen to a song, your mind is constantly guessing what will come next. The next note, the next chord, the next rhythm. Most of the time, the song follows patterns your brain has learned to expect. But when the music suddenly takes an unexpected turn, a soaring key change, a swelling orchestra, a sudden pause followed by a thunderous drop, that's when the chills come rushing in. Your brain is startled in the most delightful way, and the chemical reward system is triggered. This ability of music to play with our expectations is part of what makes it universal. No matter your culture or background, the brain is wired to recognize patterns in sound and to feel the thrill when those patterns are broken in just the right way. Think about how your body reacts when a favorite singer hits a note so high it feels almost impossible, or when a movie soundtrack suddenly swells at the exact moment of emotional climax. The chills are not random. They are the language of your brain responding to surprise, reward, and emotional intensity all at once. Another fascinating layer to musical chills is their deep connection with memory and emotion. Music has a way of acting like a time machine. Just a few seconds of a melody can pull you back to a long-forgotten moment. The song that played during your first dance, the track you blasted on repeat after a heartbreak, or the lullaby your parents sang to you as a child. These emotional associations are stored in the brain alongside the music itself, and when you hear the song again, both the memory and the emotion resurface. That combination is powerful enough to trigger a physical reaction, those unmistakable goosebumps that ripple down your arms. Scientists have discovered that the amygdala, a small almond-shaped region of the brain responsible for processing emotions like fear and joy, becomes highly active during these moments. When music awakens a memory, the amygdala doesn't just recall the emotion, it replays it as if you were experiencing it all over again. That's why a song tied to your past can make your eyes well up without warning or leave you breathless with nostalgia. The frisson is, in many ways, your body reliving a story through sound. But the effect doesn't stop at personal memories. Even songs we've never heard before can spark chills, especially if they carry emotional qualities like dramatic tension, tender melodies, or sudden bursts of harmony. Researchers believe this is because music communicates emotion universally, almost like a second language. A slow, minor key can convey sadness even to someone who's never studied music, while an uplifting crescendo can stir hope in anyone, regardless of culture. When those emotional signals align with your own feelings, whether joy, grief, or longing, the connection is so strong that it bypasses rational thought and goes straight to the nervous system, leaving you shivering in awe. Think about how film scores are designed. A director knows that the right chord progression can make an ordinary scene unforgettable. A subtle violin can make you ache with sorrow, while the sudden boom of drums can make your pulse race with excitement. In those moments, the chills you feel aren't just personal, they're orchestrated, carefully crafted by composers who understand how to reach into your emotions and stir something primal. It's almost as if music speaks directly to your soul, bypassing words entirely. While chills may feel mysterious, they are actually the result of your body's automatic systems being activated by sound. When you feel goosebumps rise on your skin during a powerful chorus or a sudden orchestral swell, that's your autonomic nervous system at work, the same system responsible for reactions like sweating when you're nervous or your heart racing when you're in danger. What's unusual is that music, something abstract and intangible, can trigger the same physical responses as primal survival instincts. One of the most visible reactions is piloerection, which is the technical term for the tiny muscles at the base of each hair follicle contracting, making your hair stand on end. In nature, this reaction evolved to make animals appear larger to predators or to retain warmth in the cold. But in humans, we don't need raised body hair for protection. Instead, the reaction has been repurposed by the brain, allowing music to hijack the system. That's why your body reacts to a song as though something deeply important is happening, even though you're perfectly safe. Alongside the goosebumps comes a host of other changes. Your pupils may dilate as your brain sharpens its focus, your breathing can become shallow or deepen dramatically, and your heart rate may shift as adrenaline trickles into your bloodstream. Sometimes people even describe feeling a lump in the throat, which scientists link to the same muscles used in crying. All of these responses happen without your conscious control, proving just how deeply music can reach into the body's automatic wiring. What makes this even more fascinating is that the chills often arrive at the exact moment the music peaks emotionally, right when a song seems to reach its climax. It's as though your body can't help but mirror the intensity of the sound, translating it into a physical shiver. For some listeners, the experience can be so overwhelming that it feels spiritual, as if the music has transcended mere entertainment and become a force that moves through every cell of the body. In this way, chills are a bridge between the mind and body. They remind us that our emotional experiences aren't just abstract thoughts. They're lived in the muscles, the skin, and the heartbeat. Music doesn't just touch our ears, it vibrates through us, awakening responses we don't fully control but deeply feel. Not everyone experiences chills when listening to music, and that fact has fascinated scientists just as much as the chills themselves. Studies suggest that about half of people report feeling frisson with music, while the other half rarely or never experience it. So what separates the shiver-prone listeners from those who simply enjoy a melody without that extra spark? The answer seems to lie in the way our brains are wired, as well as in our personalities. Researchers have found that people who frequently feel chills often score higher on traits like openness to experience and empathy. These are individuals who are more curious, more attuned to beauty, and more willing to be emotionally vulnerable. In other words, if you're the type of person who can lose yourself in a painting, cry during a movie, or feel deeply connected to others' emotions, you're more likely to feel your skin tingle when a song swells at the right moment. Your brain is simply more responsive to art and emotion in general. Brain imaging studies add another layer to the mystery. People who report experiencing chills tend to have stronger connections between the auditory cortex, the part of the brain that processes sound, and the emotional centers like the amygdala and nucleus accumbens. This stronger wiring allows sound to travel more directly into the circuits that control reward and emotion, increasing the chance of triggering a physical response. In other words, your brain might literally be built to let music move you more powerfully. But sensitivity doesn't depend only on brain anatomy. Life experience also plays a role. A classically trained musician might feel chills when hearing a perfectly executed symphony because they understand the skill involved, while someone else may feel the same shiver from a simple love song tied to a personal memory. In both cases, the intensity of the connection, whether intellectual, emotional, or personal, determines the strength of the reaction. The absence of chills, on the other hand, doesn't mean someone lacks appreciation for music. It simply means their brain responds differently. Some people may find joy in rhythm or lyrics without triggering the autonomic nervous system in such a dramatic way. For them, music might still be meaningful, just not in a way that causes goosebumps. This diversity of experience shows that frisson is not just about the song itself, it's about the listener. The same piece of music can make one person tremble with awe while leaving another completely unaffected, and that contrast is part of what makes music so uniquely personal. Chills don't just happen in isolation, they often thrive in the presence of culture and community. Think about standing in a stadium packed with thousands of people as a national anthem swells, or being in a concert where the crowd sings a chorus together at the top of their lungs. The electricity in the air isn't just about the music, it's about the shared emotion, the sense of unity, and the overwhelming realization that you're part of something bigger than yourself. In those moments, chills can feel almost inevitable, a physical echo of collective energy. Culture shapes the way music is composed, performed, and experienced, and with it, the moments that trigger frisson. In Western classical music, for example, composers often use crescendos, key changes, or sudden silences to surprise listeners and provoke chills. In gospel or spiritual traditions, it might be the soaring voices of a choir that create waves of shivers. In electronic dance music, it's the famous drop after a long build-up that makes crowds erupt with goosebumps and euphoria. Each culture has its own musical devices designed to manipulate tension and release, and audiences around the world respond with the same primal shiver. Context also plays a crucial role. A song you've heard dozens of times might suddenly give you chills if you experience it during a significant moment, a wedding, a farewell, or even while watching a breathtaking sunset. The environment amplifies the emotion, turning an ordinary melody into a soundtrack for your life. That's why live performances often provoke chills more powerfully than recordings. The atmosphere, the anticipation, and the sheer volume of sound engulf the body, making the reaction more intense. There's also the idea of mirror neurons, cells in the brain that fire both when you perform an action and when you observe someone else doing it. When you see a musician pour raw emotion into a performance, your brain mirrors that feeling, intensifying your own emotional response. This explains why watching a passionate singer or guitarist can make your skin prickle, even if the same song on the radio doesn't. Ultimately, chills remind us that music is more than entertainment. It's a social glue. It connects individuals into groups, and groups into cultures. Whether in a crowded arena or a quiet church, music has the power to synchronize hearts and bodies, uniting people through a shared wave of shivers. In the end, chills from music are more than just a quirky biological trick. They're a window into what it means to be human. They reveal how sound can bypass logic, pierce straight through the walls we build around our emotions, and leave us trembling with a sense of beauty that defies explanation. It's astonishing to think that vibrations in the air, organized into melody and rhythm, can stir such profound physical reactions. And yet, this is precisely what makes music one of humanity's most universal languages. Some scientists argue that frisson may have played an evolutionary role, strengthening social bonds. When our ancestors gathered around fires, chanting or drumming together, the chills may have amplified feelings of unity and belonging, increasing group survival. Today, we may no longer depend on those rituals for survival, but the echoes remain. The same surge that once made tribes feel connected now makes us cry during a movie soundtrack, shiver during a love ballad, or feel unstoppable when our favorite anthem plays through headphones. But chills also carry a personal dimension. They often arrive at moments when we least expect them, as if the music is reaching into hidden corners of our souls. Some describe the experience as spiritual, a brush with the divine, where sound becomes a bridge between the earthly and the eternal. Others see it as a reminder of vulnerability, proof that even the strongest among us can be undone by a single soaring note. In both cases, the reaction tells us something important, that we are wired not only to survive, but to feel deeply. Perhaps that's why so many people chase these moments, replaying certain songs over and over just to recapture that fleeting wave of electricity across the skin. It's not about the goosebumps themselves, but about the glimpse of transcendence they represent. A reminder that within the ordinary flow of daily life, beauty still has the power to overwhelm us, to stop us in our tracks, and to remind us we are alive. So the next time a song sends shivers racing down your arms, don't dismiss it as something trivial. Embrace it as proof of your humanity, a gift of nature and culture intertwining in perfect harmony. Because in that brief moment, you're not just listening, You're feeling, remembering, connecting, and touching something larger than yourself. And that, in its own quiet way, is extraordinary.